Welcome back, X Factors, to another NBA pod here on the X Factor Sports Network. I'm one of your hosts, Fred. I'm joined by my two beautiful co-hosts. Happy Halloween, Troy and Caleb. How are we feeling?
Doing great. How are you, Caleb?
Boys, it's Halloween. Let's get in the Halloween spirit. What do you say?
Come on now, look at him. Oh
Hey,
yes, look
hey,
at him, the Toady
Let's get
Toad.
after it.
Let's get
Let's
weird.
get weird today.
let's
Hey, can
get
you hear
weird.
better with those ears?
Let's get weird.
Let's get weird and let's start with
The average.
arguably the weirdest team in basketball right now, the Los Angeles Lakers. This is a topic that we've all kind of been itching to get into, but the way we're going to throw it or swing it today is we're going to throw this at Fred. Fred, do you think that the Lakers should trade their picks or go all in on the here and now?
Yeah, I would trade the picks. I think they have to get better. You know what I'm
Simple,
saying?
short.
When you have LeBron, and I don't know how many years he has left, and you have Anthony Davis, he might be 45 years old. We don't know. His body is, at least. I mean, you got to go in now. I say you trade the picks. You still trade Russell, especially with him playing better. Trade value is going to be at all-time high. Please, for the love of God, get somebody who can shoot the three. I mean, Jesus Christ, I'll go do it. Um, so yeah, I think you should. I think you go all in and try to go win now because you have to, especially with your aging veterans like LeBron and Anthony Davis. So I think you have to. Caleb,
I lean no.
that's weird.
I think that how do I phrase this? I think what the Lakers need is not only shooting, but they need a facilitator. So I heard Rajah Bell make this point. LeBron's a lot older, so you can't criticize him for this now, but he wants to stand outside and shoot a lot more threes than he ever has in his career. And Anthony Davis wants to stand around and shoot a bunch of jump shots as well. I know you can't take me very seriously wearing this thing, but I do think that if in order for the Lakers to be put in a great spot, is they need someone who can facilitate to set. LeBron's obviously going to be able to go get his own bucket at times too, but not as much as we've been used to. And Anthony Davis, like I said, wants to stand around and shoot threes and jump like 18 footers. So if you're going to want to capitalize on this roster, get someone that can facilitate, go get their own bucket, but also set all these other guys up around. I don't think that there's anybody out there. I mean, as of right now, that they could go get with those picks that would come in and ultimately help this team to the most. I do think that you don't know for certain what LeBron's going to do after his 2 years. You don't know anything about Anthony. You can't guarantee anything about Anthony Davis. You have these picks. You need to save them, and you need to capitalize on them later down the road.
So, in my opinion, as the only Laker fan on the team here, I think that there's two sides to the coin, to every coin. That makes sense. So you could go all in, like we're alluding to, trade all the picks and acquire the deal that makes the most sense to me is Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. That's the deal that makes so much sense to me. You get a little insurance for Anthony Davis. You get one of the best 3-point shooters of our time right now, of this generation, and Buddy Hield. You go all in and maybe even acquire a guy like Chris Duarte and or Daniel Theis, who isn't a terrible NBA basketball player. For Westbrook, you make AD happy by pairing him with a true center in Miles Turner. It would take the load off of him. Miles Turner, again, was on that podcast of Woj and just stated that he's excited to be a full-time center. Like, he was literally trying to, it seemed to me, sell himself to Rob Pelinka. Like, hey, make this trade happen. You won't regret it. And he's not only that, he's a good floor spacer as well. As a 5, you get Buddy Hield, who I already alluded to, can absolutely fill it up. Or you hold out and you hold on to the picks for either a better package down the road, or maybe those 8th graders, those 7th graders turn into something, and you kind of wash away what could be the latter stages of your run, of your window with Anthony Davis and LeBron. And I think that there's long-term ramifications for the Lakers if they don't trade the picks. I think that down the road, there's going to be stars in every free agency class that are going to obviously be entertained by the Lakers if they have cap space. And if people look at it and say, well, Anthony Davis signed on long term, LeBron James absolutely bought into the Lakers with his latter stage of his career, the ending time of his career, and bought into the Lakers, and you absolutely didn't do what you could do to surround him and give him the best chance to win. So what are you going to do that for me? Like, what makes me believe that you are going to try to put me in the best position to win year in, year out? So that's kind of where I lean. Do you guys have pushback on that idea of like long?
I mean, I think that if you're a star that's going to come in later, you shouldn't entertain it unless there's a better support system around you than what we currently see with this Lakers team right now. And I think that if you're, I just feel like you can't, at that point, you wouldn't be able to hold it like what they did with Anthony Davis over their head, because it's like, we didn't do anything because we were in a bad spot regardless. Now, if you come in, let's say it's like a couple years from now, it's like the roster's better off, LeBron's retired, LeBron's moved on to play with Bronny, whatever the case is, you're able to put a better support system around a guy like Anthony Davis and that other potential star to come in. And I think that would be the argument at that point, is like, look at what our roster was at that time. There was not much we could do that was really going to turn it around to be worth our while. So I think if in that case, I think that would be my argument to make.
Fred, do you have anything to add to that argument?
No, I think Caleb definitely covered it. And I'm just still on the go get it now. I mean, you have to go get it while your window's still available, because I don't think, down the road, I think that window's going to close fairly quickly, especially with LeBron and AD. I think AD is like 40 years old in my eyes.
Like, the Lakers rank number 2 right now in defensive rating. Like, they are a great defensive team. You add Miles Turner and to that mix, like, that in my eyes, your defense would go up. You get longer. You get better at shooting. You add more lineup flexibilities with AD off the floor. Like, yeah, he has some problems injury-wise. He's also alluded he'd be willing to sign on long-term. And I get not wanting, to take on future contracts, but the free agent class isn't great. A guy like Miles Turner locked in long-term, you still have 15 to 18 million to tinkle in, even in that free agency class. That was such a bad word, tinkling it.
Yeah, I know.
My bad. Terrible word.
Ain't mad about it.
No, but seriously. And in my eyes, you get Buddy Hield, you get Miles Turner this year, you're top 4 in the West, in my opinion. With that defense, bringing in that level of shooting, if you can shoot consistently every night with the way they play defense, you can beat anybody in the league, in my opinion. With guys like Bron, Anthony Davis, if Lonnie Walker can provide a nice burst, like, you have that length, the athleticism, the youth, the defense, the effort, the want to, and in my opinion, the coach. I don't see why this team can't be top 4 in the West, in my opinion. Is there pushback there?
I just look back at after Kobe, well, in the latter years of Kobe and right after Kobe left, it was just like they were so bad for like 6 years. Like, they weren't making the playoffs. And it's just, in my eyes, you need something to hold on to for future hope to keep your fan base intact, keep your fan base interested. And I just feel like if you get rid of those picks, you're good. You're okay. It's like, cool. You're maybe a top 4 team in the West, but it's like, are you for sure going to be competing for a championship? I still wouldn't put them in a championship contender, even after that trade. So it's like, I'm willing to understand completely where you're coming from and listen and potentially change my mind. But it just comes down to, it's like, at some point if you do that, there's the likelihood of you repeating those 6 years of being horrible and being a laughingstock in the league is high. And I just don't know if you would want to go through that all over again for a one more run.
I just don't think Laker fans are patient.
They're not.
Well, I don't blame them. I mean, what fan base wants to be patient? It's like
we were patient through the rebuilds.
Right. I don't think they want to go through that again.
The fruits of our labor got sold. So for a guy like Anthony Davis. So to us, and we won a championship. So to coming from a fan perspective, that's cool and all rebuild. I love rebuilds. I've been through a few through football with the Bengals. TCU's program's gone through multiple rebuilds in my time as being a fan. Can't say the same for Kentucky basketball. We haven't really gone through a rebuild.
Or Steeler football. So, it's different. It's weird for me. It's weird for me.
But Laker fans, we were patient. And then we got all those dudes. We got excited about the young guys. And then we went out and got a dude like Anthony Davis, won the championship. And now it's like, this is our window. We have Bron, we have AD. So why are we playing around with these 27, 29 first round picks. Like late in second or early second round picks are so easy to get just by paying a team like the Thunder or the Magic that have so many, paying them money or sending off a dude that really doesn't move the needle for your team and getting that second round pick. So to me, I just think that yeah, I understand wanting to have picks and you have flexibility with 27, 29, and then next year you gain another pick that you could potentially move. But you're telling me the Pacers are sitting there like, dude, we'll give you Miles Turner, we'll give you Buddy Hield, we'll give you Daniel Tice and a second round pick for your 2 first round picks. You can lightly protect them both if you choose. How aren't you all over that? And we'll take on Russ. It's like, yeah, dude, Russ has looked great in a 6-man role. And if, Rob wants to sit there and try to play an ego game and he lets it run 20 games and, you sit here, you're 7-9, 7-10, or whatever the case may be, 7-13. Why are we waiting? Like, if that offer's on the table, what's up?
How many players on this Laker roster right now are draft picks?
By the Lakers? None.
Okay.
Cole Swider was undrafted. Scottie Pippen Jr. was undrafted. It's Austin Reeves undrafted. Like they do a lot of their work. They do a lot of their work, and even
I think a second round pick, a late second round pick, and an undrafted free agent. I mean, what's the difference? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You can find gems in the undrafted pool. Look at Alex Caruso that they found.
You win championships in free agency unless you have a top pick and hit on a generational talent.
Unless you're the Warriors. Unless you're the
right,
Warriors.
unless you just draft out of your nutsack. The Lakers build their team off undrafted free agents and go in to get a big time free agent trade, whatever free agency trade market. So I don't know why they need picks. I don't need it. They're Los Angeles Lakers. Now, if they were freaking French Lick, Indiana, the Lakers, maybe sit on a draft pick.
Yeah, this trade makes sense for the Pacers. Like this,
right?
This is the
now. I don't know what they do with Russ and Tyrese Halliburton and Benedict Mathurin. Maybe
they could buy him out.
I'd buy him out. Shoot.
It's a lot of money to fill.
I've heard Bill Simmons say that if you're going to make a Russ trade, you need to do it now so that way you can potentially move him again during the trade deadline. So if you're going to strike,
trade Russ to Brooklyn and get Ben Simmons out of town.
No,
not the Lakers, the Pacers.
Okay, I was about to say, please, dear God, that would be fun.
Imagine
3-team.
They just got a taller version of Russell Westbrook.
But moving on to a segment here, fake or for real. And we can we'll change gears from the Lakers because it seems we all have kind of spoke our piece there. How about a team like the Blazers? I wanted to quickly play a little game with you guys, if you don't mind. Just a quick yes or no from both of you without doing research, just off face value. I want to ask a question. What was the biggest question mark with the Blazers coming into the year? Just a quick, Fred, do you have
being healthy, right?
Being healthy. I think defense was kind of a concern, always has been for the Blazers. So I wanted to play a quick yes or no. Who do the Blazers have a better defensive rating than? So I'm going to give you guys a team, and you tell me yes or no that the Blazers have a better defensive rating. All right, Thunder.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Raptors.
No.
Warriors.
Absolutely
not. The Blazers have better than the Warriors? Yes.
No.
The Celtics.
No.
Or the Heat.
Yes.
No.
Okay, so the only team the Blazers do not have a better defensive rating against is the Thunder. The Blazers rank top 10 in defensive rating this year. They are 5-1. I am all in on the Blazers being for real because you have a guy like Damian Lillard. You have the supporting cast that actually plays defense. It's been the biggest concern over the last few years with the Blazers. I whenever I was looking into the Blazer team because I was really interested in this faker for real game, I was like, well, this is kind of interesting. And I dove into the Blazers. I was like, holy cow, they might have something here. What do you think, Caleb?
So when I came up with the Blazers, it was obviously Damian Lillard was still healthy and playing very well. So I do think they have the potential to go down, but ultimately I do think as long as Damian Lillard can come back healthy and stay healthy for long periods of time, I do think they're for real. I do think they're a contender for the playoffs, but I do think more than likely we'll see them in the play-in. Up to this point, I've been very wrong about the Blazers team, and I'm willing to admit that. Anthony Simons has looked great. He's stepping into a big role. I love Nurkic for them. So I do think I was wrong, and I do think they're for real as well.
I disagree. I don't think they're for real. I think some teams will pass them up. I think this hot start is, just a fluke. I think they'll come back down to earth and I just don't believe in the Blazers, man. Unless Dame, they need Dame healthy for sure if they want to have a shot, but not for me.
Hey, they're the one team that's beaten the Suns this year. I mean, they've got gritty wins. They figured it out. They've defended their tails off. I don't see why not. Chauncey Billups was a huge coaching name throughout many, many circuits throughout, the turnover. And maybe Chauncey has his team rolling, has them playing good ball. You never know. Shifting gears. Me and Fred, I believe, were high on this team, the Brooklyn Nets. Fred, I'll just hand this one to you.
Absolutely not. They're terrible. God bless it. They're so bad. I mean, Jesus Christ, they are awful at basketball, right? I mean, you have Kyrie and Durant, and then you got booty, buns, Edmund Sumner. Like, what are we doing, son? Like, I don't know, man. Their depth just kills me. They need to make a move. I don't know what it would be. Please, I don't know, Ben Simmons. I don't know if he's still playing basketball on the weekends. Or is he still going good? So I don't know. I mean, outside of KD and Kyrie, they'll win games because of them two. But when they play good teams, it's clamped and it's not going to be pretty for Brooklyn. I am way off on the Brooklyn Nets. Had them way too high in the standings. I was taking face value and Ben Simmons being good at basketball into account, and I am so off on the Brooklyn Nets. Edmund Sumner.
Yeah, I think this bad start is for real. I just think that they're bad. Outside of KD and Kyrie are playing great. Both averaging I think over 30 points. So it's like there's nothing more you can ask out of them too. It's these other guys. Ben Simmons, everybody's trying to sit here and say they're trying to give him time to get back into it, get back adjusted. I don't care. He's not a guy that fits into this system at all. When they played the Mavericks a couple nights ago, he literally was running from block to block the entire fourth quarter because there's just nowhere in this offense for him to go. Other than that, I wasn't high on Royce O'Neal. I think a lot of people were like, oh, that's a defender to bring in. Royce O'Neal is really not that great of a defender. He just was the only guy on a Utah Jazz team last year that was willing to defend. And so I don't like it. I think this bad start is for real. And I think that we are on the verge of watching this Brooklyn organization blow up right in front of our eyes.
Again?
Yes.
Yeah. There's not much more I can add. I can't believe I bought in. Just like you, Fred, I've been a stickler on the Nets for so long. I fought you guys tooth and nail whenever they got James Harden, and here I was thinking Kyrie, Ben Simmons, and KD could get it done.
They're just a worse version of the Lakers.
Yeah, I'm just glad I'm not the Brooklyn Nets, if I'm being completely honest.
You got your two stars and then another budding star that used to be very good at basketball.
Let's stop disrespecting the Lakers. Like
I'm disrespecting Russ, first of all.
They play hard. Like they defend their rear ends off.
They just remind me of each other.
Say about them, but like acting like they're.
You compare the supporting casts. I mean,
third of the earth is kind of.
You know what I'm saying, Caleb? What do you think? Do you compare the depth of the Lakers and the Nets to each other?
No, I think the
better shooting in Brooklyn.
I mean, yeah, I agree there, but I do think that this Lakers team plays harder. I don't know. Both teams
play harder all you want.
But both teams are just bad. I don't enjoy watching either one of them.
Yeah. True, we have to be they're 1-5. You know what I'm saying? They haven't looked great.
I've seen fast starts turn to absolute dog water. I've seen dog water starts. I've seen the Boston Celtics be a 500 team by the trade deadline or by the All-Star break and then turn around and make the finals. I've seen it happen before with a new coach, new system, new this, new that.
Better roster though.
Can I say one thing about the Lakers? Their celebration last night after that first win, Kobe's looking down on them, just shaking.
Whoa, it was Darvin's first win.
I don't care. Yeah. They won. They're 1-5.
I don't like.
They're 1-5.
So what's Darvin's first win?
Who cares?
I like getting on the Lakers.
I love it. I love the celebration.
Back against the wall. What
shows that they're in for their coach. He shared some hugs with this guys. Love it.
Is Rondo still available?
I mean, they
Moving
were in
on.
for Frank Vogel before they blamed
Moving
him
on.
for.
Moving on.
Or
Moving
just
on.
admit they're bad. Just admit they're bad. Just admit they're
They're not
bad.
bad. They're not a bad basketball team.
Okay.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not. You can't be a top 5 team in a statistical category, a defensive rating, and be a bad basketball team. You can't do it. You can't.
Yeah, I'm not. You're not wrong.
I
I just
disagree
don't
on
think
that.
And not even
they're
top
not a
5.
good.
They're
They're
2.
they're not-
2.
they're not a bad team, but they're not a good team.
Yeah, I
Is
agree
that-
with that.
Yeah,
I disagree. I
that's
disagree with
fair.
that because you could be first in defense and last in offense. You gotta win a basketball game.
The defense wins championships, doesn't it? Anyway, moving on. The Kings, the Sacramento
Not in this day and
Kings,
age.
fake or for real?
Fake.
I was obviously the highest on the Kings. They were my team that I was most excited to watch. Can't wait to watch them stomp on the Charlotte Hornets tonight. Fred, what do you think about the Kings?
They're fake, dog. They're just not ready. I don't know. Like I thought Sabonis would come out hooping. Hasn't really. He looked good last game, but that's about it. Darren Fox is doing his thing, and Keegan Murray, but I think they're just a few pieces away. That was kind of my thing going into the season as well. I still thought they were a few pieces away. So I think. Wait, yeah, they're fake. 1-4. That's a real start. I guess is what I should have said. Right.
They're
real.
for you.
They're for
this-
real.
Yeah.
Not that good at basketball.
Yeah. I think this is fake. I think that Darren Fox has really been playing very well. Sabonis has still not got rolling just yet. So I do think it's only going to take a matter of, he was playing a lot better the other night, fat out on a bad call against the Heat. But I do think that they're going to get rolling, and we're going to see guys like Kevin Huerter and Malik Monk start to probably step up as well. And Keegan Murray, he's been playing great as well. So I do think that this bad start is fake, and I do think we're going to see them pick it up here soon.
Yeah, dude, they're a really close team. Like in terms of they had a tough loss against the Trailblazers on opening night for them. They were close the entire game. The Blazers kind of blew it open in the last minute. The Clippers, they lost by 2. Another really tough game in Golden State. They lost by 5. Another really, really good, really, really fun game. They're close to a lot of these good teams. They keep pushing. They're just waiting on that breakthrough. And I think the breakthrough, like I said, it comes tonight where they absolutely dominate the Charlotte Hornets. I'm all in on the Kings. Still haven't lost my confidence. I think that they're a lot deeper. And guys like Rashawn Holmes and Malik Monk have to step up, in my opinion, because Malik Monk's kind of been Rashawn Holmes has been terrible. He's been terrible. But Trey Lyles, he's looked really good off the bench.
He has played well for them.
He went to Kentucky. What'd you expect?
Yeah, he's played really well. So did Malik, and he don't. But De'Aaron Fox.
That's my thing. They have guys, but I don't think I can count on those guys. If I'm gonna have my supporting cast, I want to have.
They're not the
guys.
guy. Yeah, they're not guys that you're very comfortable that you have to lean on to help your team. But I do think that on the right night, you're like, oh, okay. I mean, yeah, obviously, but like on an off night, it's like
the league is just so good, though, bro. Like
Kevin Huerter, though, he was a key piece on the Hawks' run, to the Eastern Conference Finals. You look at Sabonis, who's been an all-star. You look at Fox, who's been dying for this kind of season to kind of explode. You have Harrison Barnes, who's been in championship games. You look at their roster, and really, if Davion Mitchell plays well and Rashawn Holmes, those are kind of the two I'm kind of man, I expected a lot more out of those two. If those two can kind of pick up their play, you're looking at a 7, 8, 9-man rotation that is good.
Well, even Harrison Barnes has not had – he had an off night a couple nights ago, and I think that's the second or third game he's had where it's been okay. You expect him to pick it up and be better. And I really like Harrison Barnes. I really he is a very good NBA player. And so I do think it's just a lot of guys. This is a new system, really. It's new head coach, a bunch of key factors that weren't there with you last. Keegan Murray's playing a whole lot. You've got Huerter and you've got Malik Monk. And there was one other guy that just slipped my mind. But nonetheless, this is it's just a bunch of pieces that you're trying to figure out. And De'Aaron Fox is really playing phenomenal. You expect him to keep that. And like I said, Sabonis is going to figure it out. Sabonis is a great basketball player. He's going to figure it out.
So kind of switching gears to which team to you guys, you could take this either direction or you can kind of dabble in both. Caleb, I'll give it to you first. Which team is the scariest? Now you can go scary good in the sense of dude, they're unbelievable. Or you can go, man, I'm kind of out on this team. This thing's gonna blow up.
Scary good. I've got two, but one I'll go in depth for is the scary good team for me is the Cleveland Cavaliers. They
Spooky.
Donovan Mitchell, 32 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Evan Mobley, 15 or 16, 6, 2. Jared Allen, 12, 12, and 1.5. We're seeing them play phenomenal, and we're seeing Donovan Mitchell step back into a role that you saw him in when the Jazz were having their success in the playoffs. There was a lot of questions about how they were all going to fit. I think their depth is better than a lot of people realize. Kevin Love had a great night last night. Dean Wade's been playing good for them. Ricky Rubio still hasn't been back, and they haven't had Darius Garland either. I think that this is a young, exciting. This is like the Atlanta Hawks from like 2 years ago in my eyes. A potential to make a deep run. They've got the Twin Towers that are phenomenal defensively, and they've got Mitchell and Garland who offensively can lead them. This is a team that I think could make a deep, deep playoff run, and is a team that I would not want to match up with in the playoffs.
Fred?
I'm gonna go scary good as well. I'm gonna go with the New Orleans Pelicans, man. I have really been impressed with them. All three, their big three, all averaging over 20 a game. That spread out scoring is beautiful. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 guys, 6 or 7 guys averaging over 7 guys over double digits a night. You got the defense of Jose Alvarado and Herb Jones. Like their mix of, again, like I talked about in the Daily Show that came out. Like I think their depth is what's going to push them over the edge, and I think the guys like Najee Marshall, Trey Murphy, Larry Nance Jr. is playing good. Devontae Graham, we've seen be very good. I just think their mix of talented superstars in their big three and their beautiful depth pieces that they've built. I think the New Orleans Pelicans can make a lot of noise in the West, especially if they stay healthy, which is the key for them. Is if they stay healthy, they'll be tough. And just Jonas Valanciunas just continues to be just an underrated, really good center in this league, averaging 17 and 10 this year. I mean, dude's an absolute problem down low, and he just complements CJ, Zion, and Brandon so well. So I'm going to go with the New Orleans Pelicans. Scary. Spooky.
I'm probably going to go with the easiest answer, the Milwaukee Bucks, the only undefeated team left in basketball. And I think the scariest part about them is you have Joe Ingles.
Their best player hasn't played yet.
Yeah, you have Joe Ingles nursing his injuries to get back. You have Pat Connaughton, who hasn't played yet this year. Two very, very vital, role players to their championship run, in my opinion, that's going to take place. And then you have your second best player, arguably your closer, the guy that you go to late in games, the guy that can go get you a bucket, and Chris Middleton. They're the number 1 ranked defensive team in the association. I've talked a lot about, the Lakers being 2, but the Bucks are 1. And not only are the Bucks 1, they're also one of the best offensive teams in basketball because you have Giannis, who can score arguably from anywhere nowadays, but he can get wherever he wants on the court at any given time. Caleb sung the praises of Drew Holiday on the Daily Show. And there's no reason for me to believe that once those 3 guys get healthy and start integrating themselves into this offense and this defense, because they're all 3 solid defenders. Yeah, best of luck. We could see a Warriors run out of the Bucks where they're just plowing through people throughout the season, and it just looks like, who can stop this team?
Yeah.
And Fred, I'll go to you on. Do you have a scary bad team?
A scary bad team?
It can blow up for some team. I shouldn't say scary bad, but
dude, my team. I kind of went a different direction with the scary bad. I'm worried about the Warriors' defense. It's scaring me, man. I mean, they're sitting at 3 and 4 right now, and they're just giving up a lot of points. And I think it really worries me going forward. They've been a team who's played respectable defense throughout their runs, and they're just getting exposed. I don't know what it is. And I don't know if that I still am wondering if that Draymond Green situation is still bubbling over in that organization as well. I don't know how that just gets swept under the rug. You know what I mean? Not just between Draymond and Jordan Poole, but the whole team. I mean, it's like, dude, we just had one of our leaders sucker punch one of our up and coming superstars. Like, I don't know, man. It scares me. No, it is not ideal at all. So Steph's look great, but outside of that, I got to see Klay Thompson step up. And I'm in love with Andrew Wiggins, but I don't know, dude. It's just their defense, I think, is going to bite them in the tail.
I kind of went the same direction as you. I went with a team a lot like yours. I went with the Nuggets. They just can't guard. They can't guard a lick. Aaron Gordon has struggled to start the year. He played really well last night, so shouts out to him. But whenever you're trying to get Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray off these huge injuries, like moving laterally, guarding, defending is going to be an issue because they have to trust themselves and they have to trust those around them. And that's some mental hurdles that they're going to have to work through all year. And Jokic isn't the best defender in the world. Obviously, I love KCP. I've sang his praises. Love Bruce Brown. I love their role players that can kind of get in there and scrap. But if your top three aren't really good defenders, you could be in some trouble whenever you start getting into high-pressure basketball situations. Obviously, you have the Joker, so everything could go away with ease with him on the offensive end. But their defense, I kind of went with you, kind of worries me. What about you, Caleb?
So you went with an obvious choice for scary good with the Bucks. I'll go obvious choice here, and it's the Clippers. I think Kawhi's hurt again. Paul George has been inconsistent. They haven't had one of their role players really stick out yet. Like Norman Powell had a good game last night. Luke Kennard's played okay. John Wall's looked good at points. Robert Covington, okay. Nicholas Batum, okay. Marcus Morris Sr., all right. It's just nothing stood out yet. It's like this team almost seems like they feel like they can just play it cool until the playoffs. But so you guys haven't proven anything yet. What are we doing? And with all these stars that can't stay healthy or it's just the potential to be really bad very quickly. Like I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that like they continue to struggle and then Tyronn lose out. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
I'm not saying it'll happen. I'm just saying if they continue to struggle and that happened, it wouldn't catch me off guard. So I just think that they need to swing things around quickly here. They've got an easy win or an easy game tonight against the Rockets, I think. And so it's like, this is a start. You need to pick it up here you need to get going.
Get right.
Yeah, you got to get going. So I think these next 2 weeks are very, very vital for this Clippers organization. And they need to get ahead of it now.
You have anything to add to that, Fred?
I don't think Tyronn will go anywhere.
If he does, the 76ers need to scoop him up.
I think 76ers will be fine. But, I think the Clippers will be fine too. I mean, they get healthy, and I think Paul George will get right. I trust him to lead that team. So I think they'll be just fine. But I do understand Caleb's point to them being in a scary because they could easily also be very average this year, which is a very Clippers thing to do.
Right. So we'll switch gears here, Fred, and I'll start with you. A player that to you deserves some more love, who is kind of being overlooked. He isn't being covered as much. Is there a guy?
Yeah, man. He went to Kentucky. Not a surprise.
I know.
Keldon Johnson, bro.
Oh.
Keldon Johnson of the 5-2 San Antonio Spurs. Dude's averaging 24 this year, 5 boards, 4 assists, shooting 80% from the line. He's shooting 44% from 3 and 46% from the field. I think Keldon Johnson, gold medal winning Keldon Johnson, I might add. And what the Spurs have done this year, very decent. I mean, my God, are you kidding me? Pop still got it? Question mark. But yeah, I mean, I really like Keldon's game. A guy who's just progressively gotten better. I mean, he came as a rookie 9, then averaged 13 last year. Step was 17. Now he's a mid-20s guy, and I think he can keep it up. I think Keldon he took a leap, and he's leading that Spurs team. I don't know if Spurs will keep it up, but I think Keldon Johnson will, and a guy who I think deserves a lot of love and a lot of money. I think he did get paid, but
I'm just going to take this baton from you, keep the Kentucky nature rolling. And Caleb, whenever your eyes lit up, I was like, oh, he knows where I'm going. It's a guy that actually just won Player of the Week or Player of the Month or something. Player of the Week, I think it was. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yep.
This dude is unbelievable. I've watched more Thunder games over the last week and a half than I ever
because he's must-watch TV.
Yeah, you've said it again on the Daily Show. We've all said it. Shai is unbelievable. real. Just looking at his numbers for the season, 31 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 2.5 steals, 1.5 blocks, 50% from the field, 37% from three. The Oklahoma City Thunder are sitting 3-3, all thanks, in my opinion, to Shea. Shea kept them in the game against the Mavericks. He maybe didn't hit every shot, but he led that 18-2 run. I was texting you guys on our group chat. I was like, dude, this is insane. Like this, I was watching that game. I was kind of like about to turn it off because it was getting a little out of hand. I thought the Mavs were just going to blow them open. But then this Thunder team, man, Lou Dort and the boys were pesky. They were going at it, never gave in, never gave up. And a team that I mentioned that had a better defensive rating than the Blazers, they're top 6 in the NBA in defensive rating. Like Shea can sit down, Lou can sit down. These boys, man, they play so hard. And they're without their defensive anchor right now in Chet. So that defense will look so much better whenever Chet gets into the fold, in my opinion. Just a guy, man, that he gets no national media attention. I don't know if it's because he's on the Thunder. I don't know what it is. But this dude is potentially a top 5 point guard in the NBA.
And maybe a top 5 best looking guys in the NBA. You gotta be kidding me.
Oh, that's not. There's no maybe about that one.
I was
Pause.
Resume.
One thing I'll say about Shea is in the league that wants to stand around the perimeter and shoot. He's not settling. Like the other night, he went off big for a big scoring night and only had like 2 3-point shot attempts, I think. So he's getting to the rim. He's getting to the mid range. I mean, he's shifty. He's so skilled around the rim. I love watching Shea a whole lot. One guy that stood out to me, I've watched a lot of this team up to this point, is Bojan Bogdanovic. 23 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 50% from the 3-point line on 7 attempts per game. The Pistons have only won 2 games up to this point. So, I mean, it's not like his game is contributing to wins. But nonetheless, I mean, he just got paid either yesterday or today, like just got an extension. I love watching his game. He's nothing's flashy. He gets to his spot. He's very consistent with his jumper. And it's just a Pistons team that's a couple years away, but a guy that's leading them and probably teaching these young guys along the way. And I've enjoyed watching him a whole lot this year.
Yeah, the Pistons were one of those teams for me and you, man, that we were really high on. Coming into the year. We both had them in the play-in spot. Fred was a little bit lower on them. They could be. But Bogey has stepped right in. It seems he signed that extension like you alluded to, and it looks like he's bought in.
Yeah.
Fred, you got anything to add? If not,
I heard he's one of the best smelling guys in the league, too. I don't know if that.
Best smelling?
Yeah.
That's an
Where did you hear that from?
Yeah, I was about to say.
I don't know. Hey, Jaylen Brown's hooping. Best player on the Celtics again, but whatever.
The talent's just so deep.
Hey,
in this league.
two Kentucky guys though. Wow, man, I'm getting love. You can throw De'Aaron Fox in there. I thought Caleb might go De'Aaron Fox, make it a threesome of Kentucky guys.
Maybe next week.
All right. We'll see. I like it.
Get us out of here.
All right. Hey, listen. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the X Factor Sports Talk NBA edition on the pod. Hey, don't be average. Change the game. Don't be a star. Don't be a superstar. Be an X Factor. Change the game. We'll let you guys see you next time. God bless. And peace out.